Part 294. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2931. This Pope Gongai's still seems to be very discerning in this respect, at least he didn't continue to yell at those who have nothing. Fang Fan frowned silently. Judging from the various reactions of the Pope Gongai's, it seemed that he had nothing to do with what the man in black and Zuch Dun had done. Of course, that doesn't mean he doesn't know. On the 3-acre ground of Qingtian Sanctuary, he, the Pope, still has great power. If you can't even see this, you can only say that he is really stupid. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, thinking to himself, his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. Zuch Dun's matter has almost been settled. Right now is the in-depth treatment. The Pope is really decisive. The snow crystal plain is besieged by those men in black from the dark camp. Does the Pope really know nothing about it? Fang Fan sneered, then followed indifferently. Hearing what Fang Fan said, Pope Gongai's body trembled subconsciously. At this moment, the sound of breathing became extremely rapid, and his eyes also drifted away. His whole body was already trembling unnaturally. What the hell, my mentality has collapsed. I really don't know much. Fang Fan is the acting cardinal, you should be clear that I sit in this position, and I have to deal with too many things every day. It's impossible for me to handle many things so properly. You must be aware of this. There are some involvements and accidents in these aspects. This is also a reasonable thing. So I hope that Fang Fan will act as the cardinal. Pope Gongai's lowered his head, and while talking, he subconsciously took a deep breath, and turned his gaze to other positions involuntarily. All in all, this expression looks very real. Generally speaking, it is such a gesture. Pure and true. Fang Fan rubbed his forehead, and didn't want to continue to toss about this matter. I remember that the Pope seems to owe me a promise. When I left the temple, the Pope seemed to have said that whoever can become a student in the inner palace will be rewarded by the temple. He. Now, do you still count? Fang Fan shrugged, and then said directly. In fact, to be honest, what Fang Fan covets is the Pope's position as Pope Gongai's. If you can become the Pope, the task of latent will be completely completed. It's just that there is still a lack of a certain opportunity right now, so I can only follow along silently. Let's go step by step. Beheading a deputy first-rank saint of the third-class Light Alliance temple in the Qingtian Sanctuary. In fact, the overall situation is still within the controllable range, and it is unlikely that there will be any changes. But if the Pope of the third-class temple of the Light Alliance in the Qingtian Sanctuary is beheaded and wants to replace him, it will not be so easy to prevaricate at will. Even if it is the Pope of the third-class temple of the Alliance of Light, that is also the Pope, and the Pope of the first-class temple of the Alliance of Light also attracts much attention. At this moment, Fang Fan mentioned the previous promises and rewards. Pope Gongai's was stunned for a moment, and he really didn't react for a while. Immediately, the eyebrows were raised, and there was a feeling of sudden realization. Cough. Then, those rewards were all my nonsense back then. At that time, I really didn't know Mount Tai. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2932. Pope Gongai's hurriedly said respectfully from the side, he is not stupid, this point of knowledge will not be unclear, and while talking at the moment, his complexion can't help but change rapidly. Needless to say the rest for the time being, all kinds of feelings will be directly in place. Now, according to Fang Fan's wandering appearance, can he still appreciate the little reward he promised before? A mere 100 million low-grade star cores and a quasi-sage position? The position of a true saint can be regarded as a sub-first rank priesthood, and this quasi-saint, to put it bluntly, is a quasi-first rank priesthood, which is half a level lower than the sub-first rank. What did His Excellency the Pope say? Could it be that the Pope is planning to break his promise? My Lord Pope's habit is not very good. Since it is something promised, it should be carried out to the end. Master Pope, tell me, is this the case? You can't be underestimated in this matter, can you? Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and while talking, his facial expression involuntarily changed. This time the thoughts gathered here, and the eyes couldn't help but become pure. Anyway, that's what it means. For it. That's what I said, but it's not like this. Fang Fan is acting as the cardinal, so don't embarrass me. Fang Fan will definitely develop in the first-class temple of the Alliance of Light in the future as the acting cardinal. How can my third-class temple of the Light Alliance accommodate a supreme pride like you? Pope Gong Yezhuo shrugged his shoulders, and then followed up solemnly. That's the thing, that's the situation. Taken together, it seems too real. When Pope Gong Yezhuo said this, his eyes subconsciously glanced at Mirongyu who was beside him. In fact, the meaning is already obvious. It probably means that you, Fang Fan, have already hooked up with a big boss like Mirongyu, so are you still worried about those who have it? After all, there is a decision to make, just stick to it in your heart. In fact, Mirongyu is quite speechless. She was also a little unclear about Fang Fan's train of thought. Logically speaking, this is indeed the case. Could it be that Fang Fan still wants to develop in the Qingtian Sanctuary in the future? So you are so keen on the priesthood of the third-class Light Alliance Temple in the Sky Sanctuary? She was quite curious when Fang Fan said that he was going to come here before, but she really didn't expect that he was here to ask for an official position. Could it be that this guy is still an official fan? Mirongyu raised his eyebrows subconsciously, thinking to himself, his facial expression had some changes. Don't need to say much about the rest, just looking at it makes me feel a little bit different. Anyway, after watching it for a while, I feel dizzy for no reason. In general, that's about it. Pure and true. Seeing the curious eyes of Mirongyu and Gong Yezhuo looking at him, Fang Fan shrugged helplessly. Such a little thing, as for being so surprised. It's such a simple situation. Fang Fan exhaled, thinking to himself, the light in his eyes flickered rapidly. If he didn't want to complete the series of tasks of latent, he wouldn't be too lazy to engage in these bells and whistles. Take precautions, just hit it with your mouth. In fact, what he wants most is the skin on the Pope Gong Yezhuo. It would be even more beautiful if he could become the Pope. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2933. Seeing a smirk on Fang Fan's face, Gong Yezhuo immediately panicked. Good guy, he can't understand what's going on. Why is there a different kind of laughter hidden in this smile? I always feel that there is something special about it. What's the matter? This is so, there is fraud in it. A needle hidden in a smile, there must be something strange. With a glance at the past, this feeling becomes more and more real. Inexplicably feeling the heart tremor. In any case, this is the existence I have been fighting for. I'm just getting what I deserve. How? Is the Pope reluctant to bear the position of a quasi-saint? Or must he destroy the promise? Fang Fan shrugged. While talking, his facial expression changed very realistically. This time the thoughts are gathered here. How calm is it? The posture that should be displayed must be displayed in place. Pope Gong Yezhuo opened his mouth. He has nothing to say at the moment. How can I still talk about a hammer? The brain immediately exploded. The end is the best choice at the moment, that's all. Fang Fan acting as the cardinal is just joking. Facing a supreme talent like Fang Fan acting as the cardinal, let alone the position of a quasi-saint, even if I give up the position of Pope, I am willing. Pope Gong Yezhuo patted his chest, and then said solemnly. Originally, he just said a few beautiful words casually, but gradually, he found that Fang Fan's eyes became brighter and brighter. At this moment, the light in his eyes flashed rapidly, and his whole body trembled. Pope Gong Yezhuo suddenly had a very bad premonition. The Pope really wants to give up the position of the Pope. The Pope is deeply in my heart. My Lord Pope. The smile on Fang Fan's face grew more and more, and then he strode forward a few steps, and then he was ready to hook up with the Pope Gong Yezhuo. There is no need to say much about the others, anyway, it is such a pure idea and gesture. The feeling is in place, and a wave takes off directly. Pope Gong Yezhuo was instantly stunned. I hummed up. I just say whatever. You are serious? How embarrassing this is for me. Pope Gong Yezhuo let out a breath, and then the corners of his mouth twitched subconsciously, and the brilliance in his eyes flickered rapidly. This expressiveness doesn't seem to be the case. Fang Fan is the acting cardinal, cough, cough cough cough, don't get too excited. Then what, although I have this heart, but, hey, my Pope can only be appointed by the Temple of the Alliance of Light at the next level. I don't dare to leave my post without the order from the Pope of the first-class Temple of the Alliance of Light. Although I really want to give up the position of Pope to Fang Fan as the acting cardinal, but I really can't. Fang Fan can act as the cardinal, but don't think too much. Pope Gong Gai wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, his face was bewildered at the moment, and his brain trembled imperceptibly. What's going on? Almost lost the Pope? This Fang Fan really has thoughts in this regard, and wants to become the Pope of the Temple of the Light Alliance in the Qingtian Sanctuary. This wave is really careless. Fortunately, Yuan came back in the end, otherwise it would be really embarrassing. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2934. Pope Gong Yezhuo licked his lips subconsciously, then glanced cautiously at Fang Fan. This wave really seemed quite flustered, and I was afraid that something unexpected would happen. The brain immediately buzzed. Thinking secretly in my heart, all kinds of thoughts are also rushing in full swing. So, how does the Pope want to deal with it? Is it possible that this is going to be cheating? If His Excellency the Pope has this attitude, it's a bit unreasonable. You have to think more, don't you? Fang Fan shrugged, then glanced at the heads of the three black-clothed saints on the ground. Pope Gong Gai shuddered secretly in his heart, and immediately understood. The thing is such a thing, the situation is such a situation, thinking about it so far, the body and mind tremble. Needless to say about the others, in fact, generally speaking, it is probably such an extraordinarily real feeling. Fang Fan was able to kill these three saints in black, so what would happen if he wanted to kill him, the Pope of the third-class Temple of the Light Alliance, who was a low-level saint? If this is a little restless, wouldn't it be cool? As soon as he thought of this, Pope Gong Yezhuo immediately shrank his neck, and the look of panic on his forehead also increased. In a yellow-skinned place like Qingtian Sanctuary, if Fang Fan really has some crooked thoughts, it is not impossible to kill him and replace him. Even, it's not difficult at all. All kinds of things involved in this suddenly swept over, and the whole person trembled physically and mentally. There's always something wrong with the things I'm thinking in my heart. Probably so. Fang Fan is the acting cardinal, it's impossible to cheat, how can I cheat? Even if I cheat in front of anyone, it is absolutely impossible for me to cheat in front of you. I hope you can learn from it. Cough. Actually, What I mean is that the position of quasi-sage does not match you. Cough. If possible, I think the position of saint that was vacated after Zujdun's death is suitable for little friend Fang Fan. He, little friend Fang Fan is the supreme arrogance who came out of our Qingtian sanctuary, and it is only natural to be able to hold a position in the third-class Light Alliance temple in our Qingtian sanctuary. It should be like this. Pope Gong Yezhuo is also a fine individual. What should be done and what should not be done, is like a mirror in his heart. As he was talking at the moment, the gleam in his eyes grew more and more, and he immediately rubbed his hands together. All kinds of thoughts flickered in his eyes. Fang Fan silently nodded. It has to be said that he is actually quite satisfied with this arrangement. This Lord Pope is really up to the mark. Fang Fan smashed his mouth, glanced at the Pope's robe on Gong Yezhuo, and then sighed silently. Pope Gong Yezhuo was stared at by Fang Fan, his body subconsciously shrunk into a ball, and his breathing became much more rapid. Young friend Fang Fan is not satisfied. If you have any other requirements, just say it. No. You don't have to be like this. Pope Gong Gai smiled wryly, feeling a little panicked for no reason at the moment. The matter has come to this point, in vain. In fact, Fang Fan was just lamenting how great it would be if he could win the Pope at once. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2935. Of course, just thinking about it. The Pope of a temple is only the third-class Pope of a third-class temple, which also represents the authority of one party. For such an authority, the Temple of the Alliance of Light is absolutely impossible to slack off easily. Relying on Fang Fan's current aptitude, it is still a little tender to directly want to become the Pope of a third-class Temple of the Light Alliance. In terms of direction, I still have to stick to it more or less. In terms of mentality, you should not look forward too much. Probably this is the attitude. My Lord Pope, don't worry too much. I just suddenly thought that with my current aptitude, if I want to be promoted to Pope, how many years will it take? Fang Fan nodded, and then said sincerely. Gong Yezhuo. Can you not be so arrogant in front of me? This is so. It's just slapping me in the face, isn't it? My face. It's swollen right away. This slap in the face, is it really that fun? This. What I feel is all embarrassment. So embarrassing. Wouldn't it be nice to just embarrass Skyrim? Next, let's play with the hammer. You are a monster of the Guangming Academy. Don't think about how to develop in an all-round way in the first-class Temple of the Light Alliance. What are you messing with in my third-class Temple of the Alliance of Light? The Pope position of a third-class Temple of the Alliance of Light is a hammer for your future. This broken position is not even as good as the third-rank red-clothed Archbishop of the first-class Temple of the Alliance of Light. And now, you have already included Murong Yu, the third-rank red-clothed Archbishop of the first-class Light Alliance Temple, into your harem camp. It's all at this level. Shouldn't it be a bit arrogant in posture? This is more or less the same thing. Pope Gong Yezhuo secretly complained in his heart, full of emotion. Immediately afterwards, the Pope, Gong Yezhuo, laughed a few times, and immediately prepared to award Fang Fan the third-class medal and uniform of the first-class saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance in the Qingtian Sanctuary. Anyway, that set of things is in place. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully becoming the third-class deputy first-rank saint of the Light Alliance Temple in the Sky Sanctuary, and successfully completing the latent late-stage goal. Ding. Start to distribute the rewards for completing the later goals. All legions under the host's command will be upgraded by 1 level. A god position will be opened immediately on the list of gods. Ding. The host's top 10 legions have all been promoted from the 6-star Peak Sanctuary to the 7-star Peak Sanctuary. Ding. Lei Gong, the 6th rank god on the list of gods, has been opened. Waiting for Imperial Seal. Fang Fan's eyes gradually brightened when a system notification sound came from his ear. Good guy. A wave flew directly. This wave of feelings is in place, and the whole person becomes smug. Fang Fan exhaled a foul breath, thinking to himself, the light in his eyes flickered rapidly. This time the thoughts are gathering here, and the facial expressions are unpredictable. It's really cool to complete this task. This is just a reward for completing the later goals. If the missions of the latent series are ended directly. Fang Fan's eyeballs followed suit, and the light in his pupils could not be concealed completely. This is too much to look forward to. As soon as I thought about it, I gradually became ecstatic. This feeling is too off. The top 10 legions have all been promoted to the 7-star peak sanctuary realm. To some extent, it is also a great improvement. At least 1 million high-grade star cores are saved. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2936. Fang Fan nodded silently, thinking to himself, his facial expression changed completely. At this moment, there are more or less different feelings in my heart. Thinking of this, the smile on Fang Fan's face became more and more. In addition, the list of gods has also opened a 6th class god Lei Gong. When there is a chance to directly seal it, it will add more combat power. As Fang Fan thought to himself, the smiles on his face grew more and more. It has to be said that this is also an all-round progress. Ding. It is detected that the host has completed the post-stage goal of the latent mission, and started the latent ultimate goal mission. Mission Introduction: Go to the Temple of the Alliance of Light to lurk, become a priest of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, and make a fortune secretly. Initial goal: first get a 4th rank Archbishop Dang Dang. Midterm goal: become a 3rd rank Cardinal. Later goal: become a 3rd rank Cardinal. A 2nd rank Cardinal. The ultimate goal: to become a 1st rank Pope. Task time limit: indefinite. Task rewards: initial goals, completed; midterm goals, completed; late goal rewards: all legions under his command will be upgraded by 1 level. A god position will be opened immediately on the list of gods. Completed. Ultimate goal reward: Holy Venerable level random card 100 cards, 10 demigod level random cards, 1 demigod level puppet, and the host's cultivation has been promoted to a higher level. Mission penalty: none. Remarks: as the supplier of the greatest one in the endless heavens, please carry out the lurking to the end. When you go undercover and become the ultimate boss of the other party, you are a god-slaying warrior. Doesn't this task reward seem a little too luxurious? Good guy. Isn't this shit just trying to seduce me? As long as Fang Fan can become the Pope of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, he will be considered as having completed the task, and then he can follow and take off directly. The rewards of the ultimate goal mission are really extraordinary. 100 holy cards and 1 demigod card are enough to look forward to. What's more, you can directly promote Fang Fan to a large level of cultivation. 1 big level, that is 4 small levels. If you really want to practice hard, you don't know that you will have to wait until the year of the monkey to succeed in cultivation. This is the shortcut for now. A wave of mind-blowing shortcuts. Thinking up to this point, the whole person becomes smug. This time the thoughts gathered here, and the sound of breathing couldn't help but become rapid. Besides, you can also reward a demigod puppet. This is the real cheating. At that time, there will be a demigod level puppet guarding around, let alone in the Qingtian Sanctuary. Even if it is in the Sky Sanctuary, it will be random. Fang Fan thought to this point, thinking to himself, the brilliance in his eyes flickered all over. This Pope's position is really too fragrant. Fang Fan licked his lips, then couldn't help but glanced at the Pope Gong Gai's Wo again, full of hope. Pope Gong Yeswo inexplicably felt a chill behind his back, then subconsciously shrank his neck, and then tightened his clothes. This wave was so panic. The Pope Gong Yeswo suddenly had a feeling that Fang Fan still wanted to eat him alive. He has experienced this kind of expression before, but it usually appears when he looks at those stunning beauties. Could it be that Fang Fan Tianjiao has some special hobbies? But even if you have special hobbies, you won't be looking for this old bacon of mine. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2937. Little friend Fang Fan, cough, now you should call him Saint Fang Fan. Is Fang Fan's Hung satisfied with my arrangement? Little friend Fang Fan, you, don't keep staring at me like this, I'm a little panicked. Pope Gong Yeswo took a deep breath, then shook his head helplessly. This wave of feeling is too difficult. At this moment, I feel my brain buzzing inexplicably. All kinds of thoughts in my heart gathered in my brain, and my whole body exploded. It is probably such a pure thought and idea from beginning to end, it is too real. Panic. What are you panicking about? What's there to panic about? Master Jiao Huang is really humorous. Since everything has been investigated, I'll go first. Fang Fan let out a breath, and then couldn't help but glance around the Pope Gong Gai's Wo again. The Pope's position is really delicious. It can't be blamed that Fang Fan's mind is fluttering. Going? Fang Fan's Hung wants to go? Really? Pope Gong Yeswo's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly. The sound of breathing gradually became extremely rapid. Needless to say anything else, this kind of excitement is completely beyond words. How excited? Certainly. Looking at the attitude of His Excellency the Pope, isn't he a little too excited? Ah, this. Don't the Pope want me to stay in the temple? The Pope is going to expel me now. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, and while talking, he said with emotion at the side, anyway, this rambling is all about the same thing. For it? No. That's not what it means. Sage Fang Fan was joking, how could I want Saint Fang Fan to leave the temple? Sage Fang Fan is such an arrogance, the Pope wishes he could stay for a while longer, so that he can study hard with Fang Fan Sheng. Hey, it's a pity that things backfired. There are some things that I can't do whatever I want. Ah, this. A proud son like Fang Fan's Hung is destined to be an existence that the Pope can only hope for in this life. In other places, there is actually more need for an existence like Fang Fan's Hung. Guangming Academy is indispensable for a day, Fang Fan's Hung. Wave after wave of emotional voices followed, and Pope Gong Yeswo showed a serious expression on his face. Talking and talking, even I gradually fell into it, anyway, I gradually wanted to believe it. Gradually getting involved in it, it seems that the performance is quite real. Fang Fan shrugged his shoulders, glanced at the Pope Gong Gai's Wo, and naturally knew his thoughts clearly. It is not yet ripe to usurp the Pope's throne. Of course, even if he wanted to usurp the Pope's position, he would not directly bring down the Pope Gong Gai's Wo. He could choose to do this kind of thing in a hostile temple. Anyway, as long as it is the Pope's seat, as for other things, there is no need to worry too much. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and the gleam in his eyes couldn't help but increased, all kinds of ideas and thoughts were gathering in an all-round way. Feelings are gradually in place, and thinking has become extremely clear. Walking out of the temple, Fang Fan went straight back to the snow crystal plain. The next few days will be Fang Fan's soothing time. There are so many women in the family, it must be comforted one by one. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2938. Although the parting moment is quite emotional and helpless, but for a better future, we can only choose to be silent for the time being. I have already greeted Pope Gong. Next time, if foreign enemies invade again, if you have no time to escape, you will go directly to the Temple of the Alliance of Light in Qingtian Sanctuary. At that time, he will naturally give you blessings. As long as something strange happens, I will definitely choose to return. You just have to stay well, don't worry me. Fang Fan looked at the girls, and then whispered to the side, the tenderness in his eyes gradually flashed. Do not worry. At home, I will take good care of it and try not to cause trouble for you. You also remember, come back more often. Also, don't mess around outside all the time. There are not enough flowers and plants in the house. Can you change your virtue in the future? Ymir instantly assumed the attitude of being the mistress of the house, and while talking, she couldn't help but give Fang Fan a blank stare. Fang Fan followed suit with a shrug, and then a look of helplessness appeared on his face. I really didn't intend to provoke. Why? If you want to blame, you can only blame this damn charm. Tell me, every time I am passive. Why? Fang Fan was deeply moved, and while talking, he immediately shook his head beside him. Shameless. Murong Yu, who was standing aside, rolled his eyes immediately, and then stepped on Fang Fan's toes viciously. This guy is quite aggressive. This instantly overturned Fang Fan's sophistry. How did you treat me in the first place? Don't you have any points in your heart? Also, let me call you master. Abnormal. Murong Yu hummed twice, and then said seriously. Fang Fan immediately cracked open. Ah, this is directly social death. How can you say this in front of so many people? Am I so shameless? That's it? Where do I put my face? The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched subconsciously, and the black lines on his forehead couldn't help but gather together. It's so humming difficult. At this moment, for no reason, I feel my brain tremors. Husband. Did you really use this method? How are you different from before? Ymir blinked subconsciously, then stared at Fang Fan in shock and said. Fang Fan opened his mouth, speechless. What else can I say? It's not over yet. I feel embarrassed to hear this. That's not the case. You don't quite understand the inside story. At that time, I really wanted to save the poor. But she was given some special drugs. I set an example and did not hesitate to sacrifice my body to rescue. That's pretty much the case. Fang Fan shrugged, and then sighed beside him. What this wave shows is such a pure posture and appearance. This sounds so real. Facts are facts, and that can't be smoothed over with just a few words. As far as this matter is concerned, it will be fine if you explain it clearly. Then why do you insist on elder sister Murong calling you master? Do you really wish in your heart that all the beautiful women are your slaves? So you have a strong desire to conquer. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2939. Ymir's eyes scanned Fang Fan's body, and while talking, she felt more and more like that. Anyway, it's true from beginning to end. The idea is then displayed, and the attitude is directly followed by a comprehensive flaunt. Can you stop interpreting it like this? Fang Fan smiled wryly. Who is he provoking? This is not the case. How did you get to this point? This is not enough. Wouldn't it be better to follow a little more safely? The chatter continued, and these women became more and more active in their conversation, and at this moment each of them began to exchange ideas. Fang Fan then exhaled a foul breath. What can he do at this moment? Is this not bad? After tossing and tossing for a long time, the girls gradually forgot about this topic. Fang Fan shook his legs and ran away. If we continue our conversation, we still don't know how much black material will be revealed. Why? Too many women, a bit out of control. Fang Fan boy, it's finally time to see that you are deflated. Tut, tisk tisk, that's pretty good, for you guy, it must be like this. The rest of the means are nothing. Let you sprinkle dog food every day. Bai Piao's eyes widened, with a gloating expression. This guy seems to have a lot of opinions on this matter. While talking, he nodded again and again, and the excitement on his face was beyond words. Fang Fan shrugged. He didn't bother to yell at Bai Piao now, it was too tiring to explain just now. Your body, is there anything wrong? Why do I feel like your body is getting better and better? Fang Fan frowned, then glanced around Bai Piao. Fang Fan has always been puzzled by this guy. In the past, when he randomly took out an ordinary Saint Realm cultivator and beat him up, he always cried and cried, as if his last breath was left, as if he was about to die completely. Later, he seemed unable to sustain the attack of those low-level and middle-level saints, as if his life was hanging by a thread at any time. But until later, isn't it still the case? The situation turned back and forth, and turned to the front again. The leader of the man in black before was a real supreme saint, and the giant demon summoned by Fang Fan was also a real supreme saint. Bai Piao was attacked by them one after another, but he was still able to hold on. At least he's still alive. This seemed very remarkable. From every angle, it also looks quite weird. If something goes wrong, there must be a demon. There's definitely something out of the ordinary here. Otherwise, what is the point? So far, I can't understand anything. Boo boo boo, that's probably what happened. Cough. Why? The defense has indeed been strengthened, but it's almost reaching its limit. This shows that I am not far from the end. Maybe it won't be long before I'm going to get cold. Before I estimated that there will be 100 years of life, but the recent period is a bit too far away, I am afraid there are only 30 years left. Unless I can get the godhead that suits me within 30 years. But that's basically impossible, the godhead is hard to find, and it must fit me. I'm so hard. It's cold if it's cold, it's not a problem, it's just a pity for those star cores I saved. At that time, I don't know which bastard who is cheap. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2940. Bai Piao was deeply moved, and while talking, he immediately complained from the side. This guy has a big heart. I don't care about other things, just think about the star core. If you really have 30 years of life left, you can imagine how dangerous it is. For many cultivators, cultivation is counted in thousands of years. As for mere decades of longevity, it may end in the blink of an eye. You must have a godhead to prolong your lifespan. Haven't you ever thought of other means? Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, and then asked from the side. If you can start from other aspects and have some shortcuts, it will naturally be excellent. Now let's see if there is a chance. As for the godhead, Fang Fan obtained 1/3 of a godhead in a secret realm before, but the test at the time showed that it did not match Bai Piao's attributes, which meant that the godhead was basically useless, not too much. Great value. Where should Fang Fan find his godhood right now? According to Fang Fan's current combat strength, is it possible that he can really kill God? Now relying on Rage God's finger and a series of trump cards, it is not easy to obliterate some true gods and consciousness. As for killing the real God, the difficulty is a little too big. To a certain extent, if you are a little careless, you may be directly involved in it and cannot extricate yourself. One can imagine the danger. Sometimes it's not that I have to do this, but if I don't do it, the situation will really collapse. Why? Forget it, it's okay. This divine envoy has already lived for so many years, and it can be regarded as enough. There are still a few decades left, just go through it sour and refreshing. Boy Fang Fan, can you dress the envoy of God in sackcloth and mourning? Then I will leave all the inheritance to you. Bai Piao blinked, then said solemnly. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched subconsciously, resisting the urge to slap this guy to death. At this time, I still want to take advantage. What the hell is this? Why is it still related to wearing hemp and mourning? Fang Fan exhaled a foul breath, thinking to himself, the black lines on his forehead became more and more. This wave just feels like my scalp is numb. Show a lot. A wave took off directly. Piss off. At first, I thought there was another method I could try. If it succeeds, maybe I can renew your lifespan. But looking at you like this, it seems that you are not too happy. Why? If that's the case, then forget it, just treat it as me being self-indulgent. Hey, really, I really thought too much at that time. People don't take me seriously at all. But I guess what's the use of those who don't? Tisk, it's completely unnecessary. Fang Fan was deeply moved, and then followed up with a full-fledged complaint. At first, Bai Piao didn't care about it, but when he heard that he could prolong his life, Bai Piao's eyes immediately rolled up. Fang Fan boy, you didn't lie to me, did you? I can still follow the rescue wave. I always feel like you're fooling me. Boy Fang Fan. Is that true? Boy Fang Fan. Hey, it doesn't matter if the star core is not the star core. I made a slip of the tongue just now. Tell me, I don't have anything to use the star core. The star core I earned is not all for you, is it?